What's going on, everybody? Today is September 27th, and you are watching the Daily AI Show live. Welcome to everybody. Today we got almost the whole crew, and today we're talking about AI and marketing, and all the ways that AI has really it's redundant, it seems at this point, to say how it's revolutionized a particular industry. But when we think about one of the ways that AI is being used a ton, and maybe one of the first use cases people identified was content creation, whether that was from the image side, video side, or that was just simply, hey, help me write a faster email. So with all that said and all that's going on, just interested to have a good conversation with you guys about where is this going as far as marketing. I think back to 2015 when I was running Facebook ads for other companies, and then how far that has come, especially probably in the last 24, 48 months. So who would like to kick it off?
So one of the things that I saw, had a conversation with ChatGPT and Bing, on WebPilot, was the concept of hyper personalization. And that because of systems like Salesforce, this is my fireman story, right? When you're collecting all the data, when you have a system like Salesforce or something that has the AI analysis built in, then you can create these hyper personalized customer journeys that aren't taxing or needing like intense human oversight in that context. You have to set it up properly. But I do think that this is one of those places, like for me, this is like the chatbot experience. Like this needs to be done well because it's so obvious when it's done badly.
Exactly.
What would be an example of that for you, Beth? Like maybe an example that you've already seen, or maybe quite the opposite, maybe something that's already been done badly that looks like it was bulk copy and pasted up and then just scattered, or something like the old school blast emails.
So for me, an example of that would be an abandoned shopping cart email. Hey, we noticed you were looking at this just 2 minutes ago, and then you changed your browser. Would you like to come back? And it's like, do you actually think that I, in that 2-minute decision, forgot? So, I mean, like, what is the customer relationship you're building with me? Because what you're actually building with me is a creeper, right? Like maybe I'm going to see like my document sizes, or maybe I'm looking for like what my, like what I made as a birthday present. Somebody sent me something. Like
heaven forbid time passes between your looking and decision making, right?
Right. Yeah, I will have to admit I don't like to receive marketing emails. I'm the kind of customer that I will go out, find out what I want, and then purchase it. I don't want you to be involved at all. You just need to provide the thing that I want. And I remember a story that Andy was saying a while back about how he's inured from those marketing emails. And I think I'm in the same position. So perhaps we're the bar that you have to, and what AI and generative AI might help you pass is if you can get past our initial filter, right? Just like when I move my mouse off the website and I'm going to go look at another website, I don't want to be stopped by a pop-up that says, before you leave. That is not a good CX experience for me. So I'm just like, no.
I will amend what I and sort of show the other side. So last night I was looking at something. There was a coupon that apparently expired within the 4-hour period that I was not doing that. I would have appreciated an email that said, coupon used expiring in 45 minutes. Did you mean to abandon this? That would have been helpful. Right? I mean, there are ways to do it, but.
Speaking of something that you might appreciate, I don't see any real transformation of email communications having occurred as a result of this year of generative AI. I have yet to see an exemplar of, oh, wow, this is now how email communications are going to happen. So I want to shift away from email just because I'm inured to emails and I don't really read them. My inbox is cluttered. And I think that where content generation for marketing really has to kind of be founded is in how you develop awareness in the market. And today, search is really still king in terms of, surfacing people's attention and bringing it to your product. And increasingly now, especially with the addition of generative AI to SGE, specifically in Google search, you now have a whole new panel, a new conversational interception of the user's attention post-search. It's the new SERP. And what we found is that when you search for something, now that's going to take a lot of the customer's attention, and it's an opportunity to appear in that SGE panel that is related to SEO, and yet it's a new mysterious area, but it's driven by content. That generative panel is really assessing and collecting and digesting what quality content is out there about that subject. So there might be an arms race now that's going to occur where you have to build your content library around the keywords and or terms or ideas now, concepts that are available in that search realm in order to appear in the generative panel, the SGE. So I think that it's elevated the requirement that AI assist you in developing content so that your library of content out there, your bona fides about whether in fact you are an authority on this subject, will allow you to rise to the top of search results.
I just want to quickly, I don't know if this is a pushback on that or more of a I think it's more of a commentary. If any of you listen to This Old Marketing with Robert Rose and Joe Pulizzi, but I think though the way people use search, when we say search, I know the default is Google, but I think like it isn't just Google. We're talking search everywhere. Search on Reddit, search on TikTok, a search on pretty much every single platform you can search. Not Instagram, but there's a lot more. And I also think too that when a lot of people are looking at the current environment, and yeah, everyone's still talking about, hey, what keywords and all that kind of stuff. But why, if we're going to be talking about marketing, where are the ways that we can zig when everyone's zagging or zagging when everyone's zigging? And especially with I've always said this, with the influx of generative AI, everything's going to be a commodity, like content's going to be a commodity. So where is that human experience and human connection that will be the premium? And I think that's where the most effective brands and companies will be able to connect with their audiences, because while everyone's creating mountains of content with AI, those who actually create those human kind of connections, and I'm not talking about hey gen avatars, but actually ones that you connect, I think those will be even more at a premium. And people who can do that, like a Mr. Beast, those are the ones going to separate themselves.
Yeah, and I think if I were to piggyback on that, Carl, and I know I don't want to get too far off of personalized campaigns, the topic today, but you made a good point that I think that what's happening, I guess going back to personalized campaigns, remember when back in the day when you got an email that it was like, hey, Robert, like, oh my, how do they know my name? It's amazing. Like, $ first name and, pull it from your CRM platform and boom, you have an email that's personalized. And you were like, wow. What's happening is the bar is slowly raising as every one of our antenna are slowly, every email that comes through is like, I was perusing your resume, Robert, and I swear you did a really good things at WSI. Like, really? That's no, they didn't. But so they're just taking the generative AI and they're combing my resume and combing this and giving me this nice but I have my antennas up. Like I'm reading right through that, right? And then everybody in this call is doing the same thing. So it's like back to best thing. Those are the red flags for me. Is I don't want my personalized campaign to be automated, personalized. So how do we get past that? I don't know. But going back to your points and Andy's points, I think what, if you sell backpacks, right? If you sell hiking backpacks, you can have tons of blog posts on the quality of the straps and the quality of the material. But what is going to push you into the SGE realm, this is my theory, and I was on a call with the CMO of AIPRM yesterday, which is that plugin, and he is brilliant. I'm having a call with him again about the how to optimize SEO for SGE. But anyway, well, I'll talk about that later. But my point is, what he brought to the table was your articles, your blogs should be how to use this backpack or how to go backpacking, how to pack a good backpack when you're going on a 10-day hike and temperatures are this. That's the content that's going to push you into the SGE window, because that's relevant to the searcher, because they're not going to search best backpack 2023. They're going to search best backpack for hiking the Appalachian Trail. And so if your content is aligned with that, then you're going to be pushed up to the middle. So that is personalized campaigns in my head in a roundabout way. Sorry to go on a tangent.
No, it's all right.
So is it less, then you'll say it's less building like that hyper personalized profile? Because I imagine down the line with AI and all those sources of data, your customer profile that you build out will be individualized to such a point where you know everything about them, or nearly everything about them, right? So yeah, I mean, of course you can build out the blog and everything, like the example that you were saying, to get higher results.
Mm-hmm.
But is that, do you think that's going to be more relevant in marketing than building out a more detailed customer profile? To
I think they're in tandem. Instead of building out the profile and throwing a bunch of keywords that are really searchable, that's no longer going to work. I think it's going to be more. Of course, keywords are embedded in a lovely story about how I backpacked the Appalachian Trail with my Armor, whatever. I can't think of a good brand. My North Face backpack, right? So I think that is the content that's going to be pushed further than optimizing keywords. And I think
right. I guess my question overall is, when it comes to personalization, do you think we'll ever reach a point where we're almost individually AI will enable us to create almost account managers on an individual basis? Because that's kind of what I'm seeing down the line is, all right, everyone's interaction with my company is going to be hyper personalized, hyper focused, and it's just this one customer's experience with my company or my brand or my product.
Yes. Simple example. Just super simple example of that. If anyone's building any chatbots for websites or any of your products, it's not like the connections isn't going to be long, where that conversation you're having with whatever AI assistant is going to remember your conversation thread, and it just keeps coming back to it, right? It'll refer back. I don't think that's going to be hard to do. So then whether it's DTC or B2B, it'll come back and remember the conversation, just like how we're doing it with the ChatGPT now, where it remembers the history. I think that's like super there.
So, and it's important to remember that when you're marketing, you're building a relationship, and you're building a trust-based relationship, right? So if we had a long conversation about tank tops, and we had a short thing where I say, I'm not into tank tops anymore, I bought the tank tops, new conversation. And we're referring back to something that is hyper personalized about me, but not paying attention to the current thing. You have lessened the trust in the relationship that we have, right? So like there's enormous opportunity to build personalized relationships. And we have a little bit of a potential alignment difference. If you have enormous value for me, we're perfectly aligned. Yay. Tell me your stuff. I want to buy it. If we're not aligned and you're interested in selling me value that I don't value yet, now we're in like a tension. We have a little bit of a tension imbalance in our relationship. And that can impact trust. Like there's an enormous opportunity, and it feels like there's also like a relatively thin high wire that you can fall off.
I think it's a good point to bring up too, because it's something I've dealt with. I've been part of now for 2 years, and Anne, who is thank you, Anne and Stacy, for your comments. We see him, by the way. We're going to bring him in here in a second. But Anne also teaches LinkedIn strategy, and that's part of her business model and stuff like that, and personal branding, which is something I did for years and still do to a certain extent. And I really think that can be, I won't say it is, it can be a big component of this new AI-led marketing, because something we've known for years, as far as specifically with LinkedIn, is that it's very hard to grow a LinkedIn page. I'm not saying, there'll be doubters out there. There's people that say, oh, no, Gong has got whatever, 40,000 followers on it. There are outliers to that, but as a whole, growing a LinkedIn company page is very hard to do. And so what we've had people do is we've had people, realize that creating personal brands it doesn't necessarily have to be your CXOs, but a lot of times it is sort of your higher ups, and then putting out content that is personalized, is talking about, things they care about. It could be DEI, it could be all sorts of different parts of a culture and whatever. That has a huge, huge impact on the trust that's built between the consumer and the brand. And it's done that by way of personal brand through a lot of these CXOs. And I've been very, very successful with this over the years of growing that personal brand and watching it, without a doubt, drive new business directly through the LinkedIn pages directly to the company. Scale, the company I work for, is an exact example of that, where our CEO started this way back in 2018. He's now got 75,000, followers. And that wouldn't mean anything except that he's done a very good job of consistently talking about modern outbound sales, and that being the thing that he talks about. And he has grown a huge community of people who trust him as an advisor, and that drives traffic back to Scaled in the orders of lots of money through his single page. Like, that's how impactful it is. And so anyway, I bring this up because I see this, I see the future of this, where we're able to use individuals, and it doesn't necessarily need to be just one, carefully curated, trying to hit everybody with one particular piece of content that might go out on a social media, on any of the networks, and say, oh, I'm trying to grab all these people, as opposed to being able to create very fast. And I think it's the efficiency that I really get excited about. Well, if I can now go create personalized pieces of content through the marketing department that are approved and have approved brand assets, but are personalized, and send it through the CXO, through that part of marketing, I can have a massive impact, and they can focus on the people that are in their niche, in their target audience, and it can still be through marketing. I think right now, if you talk to a lot of marketing, or at least in the past, before this AI sort of revolution, it was a lengthy process to move from ideation through to something actually going out the door. Now that can be done in a matter of hours, if not sometimes faster than that, because of AI. And I think that's really, really impressive, where it was really hard to do that in the past. Now you can have some CXO starting the day, and, by 10 o'clock that morning, posting something that is really good for their brand, but highly personalized, and through the entire approval process of marketing. So that just
can we take that
personalized level is a huge part of this.
Can we take that, Brian? And I'm interested in everybody else on the call, if you could jump in and give me your thoughts. But how do we take what you just said and do it at scale? Because, I was on a podcast with Constant Contact, and they keep on asking this question, because I guess a lot of his listeners are marketers and whatnot. And he's like, what are some examples of, personalized campaigns? Exactly what we're talking about today. And, it's easy to understand, be able to do it on an individual basis and target somebody, and like the backpacker that's going on, the transatlantic or whatever, or the Appalachian Trail. But how do we do it at scale and automate it with AI? Is there what are people doing right now that's doing that?
Well, I think in my opinion on this, just my opinion on it, is the way you scale is the way I would say a lot of parts of this, which is that, again, I'll go back to I won't use firefighting. I'll go back to nutrition on this one, or when I used to own the CrossFit gym. I found over and over, and I found this to be pretty true throughout a lot of other areas, is that like 80%, 90% of what we need, what we desire, what will move the needle for us personally is actually the same as everybody else. I only find that it's that last 10 to 20% that are truly what's personalized, unique. Now, the way you scale that is by saying, if we can have a marketing concept that 80% of the way is done by AI and is ready to just be nudged in any one particular area. What's great about AI is that none of us have to start from scratch anymore. We get to start, already at, we're running a 40, but we got to speed up before we got to the starting line. So our 40 is going to probably be faster because we're going full speed from the start, from the gun. That's the way I feel like AI is making an impact. So the way I see this being scaled is that once you set these parameters in place, you can very, very quickly go from 0 to 60 miles an hour to get to that 80%. And then you bring in the humans to quickly offshoot that into the highly personalized.
So what does that look like? Like, what does that workflow look like, Brian? Like, so are you in HubSpot or Salesforce, and are you pulling in data in a third party, or are you using Zapier? What exactly how would you envision a workflow where you're doing that at scale for individuals? Like, where are your target persona, for example? Or maybe you're trying to prospect people that aren't even in your database. Is there
I'm going to bring in the comment, because I think this is also asking that. Give examples of what we can make.
I mean, I can give examples in sales, but Carl, you were about to say something.
Oh, I'll give you an example from a client. So essentially, this client, I can't say, because essentially what happened was we introduced this option. The option was to use an AI brand creative tool, which replaced their $6,000 a month agency, completely replaced it. So in that $6,000 a month agency, what they were doing is just creating images or brand images for a specific brand. And essentially what happened was that company said, wait a minute, this, we can create this ourselves. We'll just train up said social media person. Then if we train up said social media person, give her a little bit more money, then we do not have to pay $10,000 a month agency. And so you trained her up on said AI tool, and the output was the same or even better than what they were getting, because they can create more of the output. And the output was essentially just images for campaigns, like constantly, because they always are running campaigns regularly. So if they just keep creating images, campaigns over and over and over again, just different versions of it, well, they've replaced one with another completely at scale for whatever the price of the month that they're paying. So that would be something that it's super scalable if in that specific use case.
But not personalized. I mean, that's very scalable. That's a repetitive task that AI is coming for. Every job in the planet is repetitive tasks that are easily done. But how would you do that personalized at scale?
With this business, there isn't a personalized necessarily. Like I can't say.
I can tell you.
Industry.
I can tell you in sales. I can tell you personalized right now, Robert. So I've done this, and I've thrown the challenge out there to people before, because they've said, "Oh, AI posts, on LinkedIn, stand out like a sore thumb." And my answer is, yeah, bad ones do, they do, but you won't find mine. And guess what? I have created hundreds of posts for hundreds of SDRs and AEs throughout companies. I have written the models to SDR, sales development representatives, and account executives, so the sales side of things. I have created hundreds of posts. The way I do this at scale is this: you have to have somebody who understands the the ChatGPT, the AI side of it. You have done somebody that can do basic automations and stuff. Okay, yeah, that's me. Okay, so then what you do is you get somebody, you'd say, okay, I understand from the company what our goals are here for the types of content that we need to create. But I have a whole bunch of SDRs and AEs, sales reps, all right, who are not trained on how to become their own personal, brands on LinkedIn. But the company's in favor of it, and so are the individuals if they're looking at it, right? Because it's good for the company, it's good for their career. So the ones that really dig in get it. So then they say, but Brian, I don't necessarily know how to create this content. And I say, here's what I'm going to do for you. I'm going to get you 80% of the way there. And then I'm going to train you how to take that last 20% and make it highly personalized for you so that what goes out the door is actually a really great post. But I guarantee you 80% of that is a core message that has gone out to the group, but you won't find it. You won't find it like that. You won't see that core and say, oh, this is that one. This one I see where Brian did. Because the way it's done professionally by people, that like we know what we're doing when it comes to the AI side of things. At least I hope I feel like I know what I'm doing, that I've gotten it to a point where I can create truly highly personalized, customized messages at scale for hundreds of sales representatives in one go. And
but I want to.
I used to take me
personalized.
hundreds of
I really want to delve into personalized. So I get that it can be created for lots of salespeople, but their audience or their target audience and their personas that those sales reps are talking to, what data set or how are you pulling into the AI? What are you pulling into the AI to make it personalized? Like, that's what I'm trying to figure out. So that Bob Smith sees it on his LinkedIn feed.
Yeah, it needs to be trained on their data, right? So you need to be able to have some pretty deep conversations with a company. I mean, we do this through consultative work, obviously, but we dive deep into, their target personas, knowing their ICPs. And was mentioning that, it's not about us. You got to know their ICP and what they want. So, there's a fair bit of upfront work that happens to ensure that those types of, core posts, if you will, are hitting the mark. And there's a back and forth, obviously, with the client when we're doing that to say, hey, what does this look like? Does this feel like it's hitting the marks? Once we get past that point, though, the gates are pretty much open, and there's just a massive amount we could do. I mean, it's saving our customers thousands upon thousands upon thousands of dollars. That's the truth, because what we're able to do at scale now because of AI, I could not have done as good as I got as a LinkedIn strategy. I could not have done 3 hours would have produced 4 posts for one CXO back in the past. Now 3 hours can produce 10 to 20 posts that are just as customized and just as effective on LinkedIn.
Right.
So-
and Robert, I think to answer your question, and Junmi's gonna hook us all. The personalization in a social media situation is actually the reverse, right? So the personalization happens when I say, you're interesting and I want to follow you and be interested in you. And that's a really powerful personalization because I made that choice and I can unmake that choice.
So you're saying building an audience first. You're going the reverse way. So what if I want you as a client, but you don't even know I exist? That's what I'm trying to get at. It's like, I need to understand how people are getting the data. Where are they? Because used to be Facebook was really good about it. You could click at whatever, all these pull down menus, and you could target a certain person, certain income, certain groups they like. Now they're just put so many shackles on it. You can't target anything anymore. So I'm just curious how people are getting the data so they can do personalized campaigns to not their existing base that they want to retarget and sell them another product in their inventory, but a non-customer. That's what I'm struggling with, is trying to find out how to target them with personalized campaigns that you don't have as customers yet.
And on that cliffhanger,
Great.
TLDR.
ah.
I got to jump. I'll see you guys. I'll look forward to TLDR. All right. Bye.
Really quick.